Today I'm going to show you how to make Sleepy from the 7 Dwarves, and in order to make him you will need about 50 of these skin colored bands, 55 of the dark green band for his hat, about 90 white bands for the beard and the pillow. On this design we're actually going to make the pillow a little bit shorter and turn it sideways, so we're going to try that out with the tutorial. And then you'll need about 66 of the olive green bands, 30 dark, like a dark brown, and 24 of a lighter brown for the shoes, and 3 black bands for his belt. The olive green will be for the shirt. On this one I made him with a light, really fair light brown shirt for the mock one, but we're going to do olive green for the tutorial. And then you will also need 2 pony beads in order to do the eyes. If you don't have the pony beads, then you can always do the white bands or the black bands with 4 loops on your hook, and then put 2 white loops on each side to create the eyes. I'm sure at this point you've seen that technique. So go ahead and grab the things that you will need and we will get started. The first thing that we are going to be working on is the hat. So you're going to start with your loom facing this way. We're going to be using the dark green bands. These will be single bands for the hat, and we're going to come straight down . And we're going to stop, so you're coming down 9 times in total. You should have 3 empty pegs at the bottom, and we're going to go back up and come down the right side also with 9 bands, or 9 times. We then want to come off that peg, the bottom peg, once we've come down 9, and instead of just bringing it into the 3rd from the bottom on the center, we'll bring it into the 2nd from the bottom. And do the same thing on the other side. And then we want to finish off, or no, we want to fill in the center first. So we're going to come straight down the center. And these will also be with single bands. And then on this last peg, we're going to take a single green and double it to finish off the top. And we want to place a capping band here, creating 4 loops. So 1, 2, 3, 4. And we then need to place some crossover bands. So starting up here at the top, you're going to skip the first triangle of bands, or triangle of pegs, coming down to the second one and creating a triangle with a single green. The next one again is a single, another single, single again, and another single. So you have 5 singles, single crossover bands. We're then going to place on this one a single with a half double. So you're going to bring it into a triangle, twist, and then you're just coming back to the center peg. So So if you can see that there, it's not going to be a complete single double. And we want to do that again for the next triangle. The next one will be a single double. And the last one is also a single double. And on this one, we're going to pull it over this last peg, creating a diamond. And this is what you should have. Now once we've done that, we can go ahead and start looping. So we're going to go in under the capping band, coming straight up. Going in here, we're grabbing the first band on the top, and we can go ahead and loom this all the way to the top. Make sure on this single half double that you're going inside of the half turn there. You don't want to go on the outside of this band, we want to go on the inside. Going back to the bottom, my next band goes up to the left. And then back down to do the other side. And once we've done that, we can go ahead and remove it from the loom. So we're going to go ahead and loosen it up from the bottom. And grab your holding hook. And this is what you should have for the hat. And we can set that aside for later. The next part that we'll be creating is his beard. In order to do that, we'll be using single white bands. Starting at the top of the loom, you're going to come down 5 times on the left. Repeat that on the right. And then we're coming from the 5th peg straight out here to this peg instead of directly to this one. So you're coming to the 8th peg in the center. And we then want to fill in the center. And then we want to come out one more from the center, and we're going to cap this 4 times. We then want to place our crossover bands, so starting on the 2nd peg down with a triangle with a single white band, And we're going to do that 3 times total, so that's the second one and the third. The next one is a single half double, just like we did on the hat. And the last one down here is a single double, and we're going to create the triangle. Once this is in place, we can go ahead and under the capping band, bringing this one forward. When you go in here, grabbing the first band, bringing that one forward, and then we can go ahead and loom all the way up. Going back in, and then my band goes to the right. And then bringing up on the left. And then we can go ahead and remove this from the loom. And then grab your holding hook, and we can remove that and set it aside. We also need to create his arms and his feet. As you can see here, I've created one of each, so I'll go ahead and show you how to create one, and you'll just have to pause the video to make the second one of each. So starting with the arm, at the top of the loom, we're going to use 3 of the olive greens coming down twice with 3. And then the next one would be 2 olive green. We then want to take one of our light brown bands. We're going to create 3 loops on our hook. Take 2 olive green bands and pull those on there, and then placing those on the 4th to 5th peg. And then placing 2 more olive green. We then need to make his hand. So you're going to take a single skin, create 4 loops, take another one, single double, and pull that on. Take another single, double it, pulling this on as well. Take another skin, we're going to create 4 more loops. Take a single and double it. And repeat that again, single, double. And then one more time, so 4 loops. Single, double. And this one I only do once to create a thumb. So then I'm going to take one more skin tone, single, double, and I'm going to pull all of this onto that. And we are going to place this as the capping band to create his hand. We're then going to go in and loop up to the top. And that creates his hand. So go ahead and pause the video and make a second one, and then we can move on. In order to create his little boot, we're going to start on the top of the loom with 2 of the light brown bands coming down once. We're then going to switch to 3 of the light brown. And on the last peg it will be 4 light brown bands. We are then going to cap this off, creating 4 loops. 1, 2, 3, 4. Then we just want to loop those up. And remove that and set it aside for later as well. So go ahead and pause the video to make your second foot, and we can continue on from there. Now that we've done that, we're going to go ahead and create the head. With Sleepy, I did him a little bit differently. His head is going to be made separately from the body because we have to be able to attach the head at an angle. If we were to do it as like we did our other characters, then we wouldn't be able to rotate his head. So we're just going to start with just the head. You're going to start on the top of the loom with 2 dark green bands coming down to the left. And do the same thing going to the right. And then 2 bands coming down, once on the left, once in the center, and then 2 more bands on the right. We're then going to switch to the skin bands with 2 skin bands coming down 2 times on the left. And twice on the right. And coming into the chin peg. And we're then going to fill in the center. We then need to create his nose, and in order to do that, you're going to take a single skin band, create 4 loops, repeat that again, and then we're going to take a single skin and double it, and we're going to pull both sets on. And then we want to pull that onto a single band. And this will be placed on the 3rd peg from the top straight across, just like that. To place the eyes, you're going to take a single skin and take your 2 white pony beads and you just put them side by side, pinching off the end of the band, and you're just going to push straight through. And this will be placed from the 2nd peg down on each side, and grabbing through the center, grabbing just one of the bands and pulling it over that 2nd peg in the center. We also need to create some face extensions. We can do that right below. You're just going to take 2 skin bands anywhere in the bottom of the loom, coming down twice, creating a cap with 2 loops, or I'm sorry, with 3 loops. And I'm going to do that again. I'll go ahead and loop that. And we then are going to place that on the third peg from the top. No, I'm sorry, this one, the top that we looped up goes on the fourth peg from the top. Then stick your hook back through the capping band, and that one goes on the third peg from the top. And repeat that on the other side. We can also attach his hat. So if you look at where we did the hat, there's 6 bands in total, so each one is a set of 2, and you're just going to place those on these top pegs. And we also want to place the beard. So again, you have 6 bands running across the top. 2 goes on the 4th peg on the right, 2 on the 5th peg from the center, and 2 on the 4th on the left. Just like that. Once everything is in place, we do need to place one more capping band down here, and that one we just want to loop 3 times. Now we're going to go in under the capping band, grabbing the first 2 skin bands. You might have to pull the beard back to see. And bring that one up. Going back in, grabbing the next 2, going to the left, and the next 2 going to the right. We then can go ahead and loop up the right side. And then the left side. And then coming up the center. When you go over the nose, you want to take your hook, pull the nose piece in between these bands. You then want to take a single dark green band, go through all of your bands on the top, and then pull the hat up, going through to pull the bottom part of your slip knot through. You can then go ahead and remove his face from the loom. If you want, you can go ahead and fix his nose and pull his cheeks out some. And then we can hide this band by flipping him over. And pulling that one through the back. And then we can go ahead and sit the face aside so that we can move on to working on the body. Now we're going to go ahead and create Sleepy's body, and in order to do that we're going to start at the top of the loom with 2 of the olive green bands coming down to the left and to the right. We're then coming down with 2 bands 5 times with the olive green on the left. And repeat that on the right side. And then coming down the center with 2 olive green, then switching to 3, and 3 more, and 3 more, and then 3 more olive green. We're then going to switch to the dark brown bands, 2 coming down on the left and 2 on the right, and then coming into the center. Then want 3 bands, 3 brown in the center, and switching back to 2. Then doing 3 dark brown on the left, and 3 on the right. And then switching to 2, coming down twice, and then 2 more, and then taking the lighter brown, single double, and repeat that again on the other side. We're then going to place a capping band here, creating 3 loops. We can also take the shoes now, placing those on the bottom 2 pegs. And to place the arms, they go on the top left and the top right. Make sure that the elbow patches are facing up. Since Sleepy is laying down, we're looking at his back. And we're also going to be placing the head, and in order to do that you're going to take 2 skin bands, and on the back of his head you'll see these 2 bands here. You want to take those 2 bands and feed those through, and then his head goes on sideways on the very top peg. And you want to make sure that it's facing to the side. We're then going to place the crossover bands, starting on the second peg down with a single. Repeat that again. And another olive green single. Another single. Switching to the dark brown with a single. And one more here. Once that's in place, we can go ahead and start looping. We're going to go in under the feet. And we're stopping there, doing the other side. Go in under the capping band, grabbing the first two bands, and we can go ahead and loop straight up the center. Coming back down, go back in the capping band, going to the left, looping up the first brown. We're then going to take two blacks, placing them on your hook. You can hold them in place with your finger. Go in, grabbing those, two green, and pulling the black just directly on. And then we can go ahead and loop up. And then go back in the capping band, going up the right. You then want to take the black, and instead of going straight through, we actually want to go through the top, pull this over, grab the green, pull the black through, and it'll twist itself back when you loop it in front. We're then going to take a single olive green, going through all these bands. And create our slip knot. We can then remove him from the loom. Once he's off the loom, we can flip him over on this side and hide his slip knot band. Straighten out his arms. placing your hook through this side, you can pull the feet to face the other way, just like that. And now we just need to make his pillow, and in order to do that, you're going to want your loom in the square configuration. We'll be using white bands. With single bands, you're going to come down the left, and we're going to come down a total of 8 times. And we're going to repeat that again in the middle. And on the right. We're then going to place a single band on the very bottom from the right to the center, from the center to the left, and repeat that on the top. So from the right to the center, center to the left. We are then going to take single white bands starting on the top and just place them over each peg. We're going to do that all the way to the bottom. We are then going to take single bands starting on the second peg down and coming straight across for holding bands. Just like that. We then want to place a capping band on the bottom left corner. And you can do 3 or 4 loops, that's really your choice. Then going in under the capping band, grabbing the first white band, bringing that to the right. Grabbing the first band, bringing that to the right. We're then going to loop all the way up. Go back down the bottom and loop up the center. And on the left. Go back in this top right, bring this one to the left, and this one as well. You then want to take a single white, and we're going in this top left, create a slip knot. Same thing on the center peg. And for now, we will not be putting one on this peg here since we're going to be doing a transfer. We're going to go ahead and remove these 2 rows, leaving this one in place. Just like that. We are then going to switch your right peg and your left peg, lining them back up. Then using single white bands, we're going down the center, again 8 times. Before we put this one on, you actually wanted to pull that first band, that we had that single band just sitting there. We want to pull that one on first. We then want to take a single going from the center to the right, and then coming down 8 times. We then want to bring one across the bottom to the center, and then we have another single band over here that we had left just by itself. That one is going to loop over to here. Now every single row had a single white band, so you want to just fish that out. That's your crossover bands. Okay, now we're going to go in through this band here, grabbing the first band, bringing it to the right, and then coming up the right side. And then bringing this one to the center, going back down. Now this one's a little bit different than normal. We don't want to go inside, we want to go on the outside of that band. And then bringing this band back over to the corner. We're then going to cap this off, or tie this one off. We're then going to remove this from the loom. Now we want to take the white bands, the extra tops, we're we're going to go in and just hide them down inside the pillow. Then you're going to take Dopey, and the best way to do this, you want to go in under his belly or his upper chest area here. I'm going to take a single white band, feeding that through like this. Going through the bottom section of the pillow, and I'm going to pull that through to the other side. And I'm going to do the same thing to grab the other side. You could really use any color you want in order to be able to actually see what you're doing. It went on a lot easier last time. I'm going to do it this way. So I'm going to create a slip knot here, pulling through, creating a second slip knot, and then going through the bottom, I'm going to grab one of my bands, pulling it through on this side. A little bit more even. Just like so. And then I'm going to tie it. Just as effective. Again, it's the bottom, so you don't see this part. Okay. You can also, if you want to do this as well, you can use a band to tie his thumbs together, like I did here. I took a band and slipped it through the two thumbs, and then attached that to the pillow as well in order to give him the effect of laying on his hands. So you can do that as well if you want. Now once he's done there, you just take your Sharpie, which I finally found, and careful with the bands around him, and draw on his little eyes, and then that's how you get Sleepy on his little pillow. I hope you like him.